Semoga semuanya sudah, I hope you enjoy the lunch today and also having a great time today with this event. And welcome to Pak Ivan and Bu Firdila. Okay, now we will have a chat. It's not going to be very tough for everyone to digest, but hope it will be very insightful to all of us, and I believe so with all of your expertise in the industry. And let's start with Ibu Firdila. Can I ask how, as you are in the Bank Aladin Syariah, so how is the regulatory landscape in Indonesia evolving to support innovation while maintaining financial system stability?
Yeah, I think first of all, I would like to introduce about Aladin first, so that people here have the general context on why we're doing it this way. So Aladin is a digital Syariah bank. We're the first digital Syariah bank in Indonesia, and we're still a baby. We were just established back in 2020, and then we launched our first operational as a bank back in 2022. So in general, we're one of the babies in the banking industry. And trying to answer what Tito has already asked before, how the regulatory landscape helped fast forward the FinTech. I'm going to be very specific on the banking industry landscape. To be really honest, based on my experience, I was in banking industry before, and then I moved to one of the largest payment player in Indonesia. The biggest advantage that we have as a baby Aladin is actually provided by the regulators. The first is actually by the time Bank Indonesia established the blueprint of payment system in Indonesia, that really helped to level the playing field. So as a new player, we were getting the advantage of having the standardized QRIS, having the BI Fast as the alternative for real-time transfer. It helps us, rather than entering the market and becoming an acquiring player, by having the standardized payment system, it helps us to actually serve our users without actually becoming to acquire our merchants. When I was in the payment business before, what we did was we had to acquire like around 200,000 merchants in order for us to serve our users. It's a very costly business at that time. But with the QRIS, it's actually helping us out. And then secondly, it's actually also related with the payment system regulatory, is the availability of BI-SNAP, which is the open banking standardization. I think in other countries, they've been discussing about open banking for quite a while. But in reality, in Indonesia, the implementation of open banking has actually helped a lot of banks and also the financial other tech companies to fast forward their business, because at the end of the day, every other industry needs financial services, every other business needs banking to support their business, right? So having said that, when we're building Aladin, we're basically leveraging that. So by the time we establish Aladin, we have two frameworks. First is we're serving our users directly, and the second is we're serving our users indirectly, which is basically providing banking as a service or embedded finance to our partners. So having those supported by the government actually really help a new player like us to enter the market, rather than trying to like fight everybody by ourselves, being collaborative with other players, be it in the financial services or not. Help to fast forward not only our bank but also Syariah banking in general. I hope that helps the question from Tito.
Super, very detailed explanation and very insightful. And perhaps need to ask another question is, in a rapidly digitizing environment, what role do you see for Islamic banking in fintech-driven innovation? Because it's based on the religion system, right? How you see the role in digital innovation?
Okay, so I think first and foremost, I would like to clarify that Sharia banking or Sharia economy is not a religion-based system. So when we're talking about Sharia banking or Sharia economy in general, we're talking about transactional relationship between humans. So it's not talking about our relationship with God. It's actually talking about human-to-human relationship. Why is it like that? When we're doing transactions, business transactions, the first and foremost important thing is actually about trust. And how do you build trust? By making sure that I'm being transparent with you. For example, if I'm selling this as a new item, I have to say this is a new item. But if it's used, then I have to say it's used. This is not a new item. So the very fundamental thing about Sharia banking or Sharia economy is actually about building trust. Making sure that both parties involved is actually telling the truth, being transparent to each other, and also about risk sharing. So, for example, in Sharia banking, we don't believe that guaranteeing an interest rate is something that is beneficial for both the bank and also the user. Why? Because your money, when it's being deposited into the banking system, is actually being utilized to finance other business, right? There's also risk to it. When we're financing other business, there's a risk. So when we're doing this business that has a risk, the user will also bear the risk. If the bank gains more profit, then the user will also gain more profit. So that's the very basic concept of Sharia banking. So it's not about relationship with a God, but it's actually about transactional relationship between humans, which is the fundamental is the trust itself. So coming back to your question, how does the Sharia banking try to navigate in this digital world? From the very pragmatic point of view, at the end of the day, Sharia product, be it's in the banking or other financial services product, is one of the options that is actually available for people to use. And when we're talking about people in Indonesia, the fact is majority is actually Muslim-based population. The fact is that there's a growing needs and awareness that is actually on top of our basic and function needs. When we're talking about selecting products, there are usually two elements, right? First is the rational part of our brain. Like I'm buying this phone because it has the best feature based on my budget. But when we're talking about services, there are certain things that also affect my decision making, which is the emotional value. One of the emotional value that is the strongest is actually the Sharia value itself, right? Because then I want to have a great product, but if it's based on the Sharia concept, which is based on trust, which is based on transparency, then it's icing on the cake. Then of course I will choose that one better. But fundamentally, the product has to be great. Because if the product is not great, then why would I want to buy it just for the sake of it's a Sharia product? So when we're building Aladin, we are always seeing it that way. For example, Bang Jago, as one of the players in digital banking, they're also serving it like that. A lot of products being served, and then from the customer point of view, they will see a selection of things. They can choose either one, or maybe they can have multiple of banking services. So we cannot provide a product that is subpar to our peers. We have to provide a product that is at least the same, or if not better than our peers, and then because it's a Syariah, we focuses more on the transparency and risk-sharing, then people will be attracted more to us. So that's the overall concept. So it's selection of product, and on top of that, it's the emotional value that we're trying to provide to give assurance to our users that this is something that is built based on trust.
Okay, thank you. It's quite new to me, especially that Islamic bank is not about religion, but it's about the transactional relationship between human, which is based on trust and transparency. Thank you for the insights. And now maybe to Pak Ivan, I'd like to ask that how does because from Bank Jago, one of the digital banks also in Indonesia, and how does your organization envision their roles in Indonesia's evolving digital banking landscape?
Thank you, Tito, for the question. And I guess good afternoon to the audiences. Our vision is to be the life-centric and tech-based bank embedded into Indonesian digital ecosystem. So there are three parts on that. Life-centric, I guess, it's very similar to what Bu Firila said. It's more touching into the human people daily lives. We want to be present there. Second part is about tech-based. I think there's no question about that. Being I think the first cloud-native digital bank in Indonesia, we are very keen on leveraging the latest advanced technology. And the third part is being embedded into the digital ecosystem. I think being digital bank, similar to Aladin, organic growth is not something that I think we can compete with already other big established bank. Hence, we are depending or leveraging most of our business growth through partners. This is what actually drives what Bu Firila said about open banking, etc. If you've been using GoPay Tabungan by Jago, then it's actually very seamless to people who already have a Gojek app. Doesn't necessarily download the Jago app, but they can benefit from the banking services. That's the one that is feasible because it's retail. It's retail facing. But on the other part, like our lending loan portfolio, majority are being channeled through partners, through a heavy focus on our APIs.
Well, for your info, I'm also Bank Jago nasabah. And what are the key strategic initiatives your banks are undertaking to drive innovation in FinTech? Because you said one of the three pillars is and collaboration, right, with the consumer insight to bring this.
I would like to compare this answer as well with Bu Firila. I think we are converging into AI this year, the team. Everybody is hyping on AI. And from this year's strategic initiative, mostly are on the sustainable growth of our volume, but there's one specific strategic initiative that is specifically on AI. Okay. But that's the one that is on paper, like presented in BOD meetings, etc. But under the hood, we still focus on increasing our team capability. You can see in my CV before, I'm keen on creating an environment for our team capability to grow, because then the second part is our active customer listening. So we are being life-centric. We have to be very customer-focused, knows what customer pain points, and then ensure that the team capability is there to answer with bringing the tech-based solution to answer our customers' pain points.
Okay, Bang Jago, yeah, I know a lot. But now I'm curious with again with Bu Firdila, and I'd like to ask, in what ways are digital banking platforms being tailored to meet the unique cultural and financial needs of Indonesia diverse population? Even though we know that mostly are Muslims, but how you overcome the diversity?
So I think coming back to the reason why we're building this, right? When we're building this, we have a very huge hypothesis. The first hypothesis is basically full online banking experience is pretty much non-existent in Indonesia, and I don't see it in the next 5 or 10 years. Not because of the Indonesians are not tech savvy, are not digitally savvy and stuff like that, but our fundamental reason why we cannot be fully online or fully cashless is because we do have a huge disadvantage in terms of the infrastructure, right? And our geographical condition also making us very difficult for us to have like network and infrastructure at an equal rate. So having said that, when we're building it, one of our first strategic investor and partner is actually Alpha Group. So Alpha Group is the biggest retailer in Indonesia. Currently, they have like around 23,000 outlets nationwide, and also around 3,000, 4,000 outlets in Thailand. So, knowing that even though we're a digital bank, we cannot avoid to have a physical presence. First, we can do pretty much everything online, but unfortunately, doing the cash transactions, you cannot do it online. If you want to do cash deposits, you still have to go to some place and then get the actual money, right? If you want to do cash withdrawal, it's the same. But as a digital bank, if you want to, match big players, like those other big players, that will definitely kill us in the first year. So when we're partnering with them, one of the solutions that we're building is actually providing a cash withdrawal and cash deposits at those 23,000 outlets. So rather than, we only have one branch, which is regulatory requirement. As a bank, we need to have at least one branch. So we do have one branch. But for our cash services, we're partnering with Alfamart. So our presence instantly on day one, we are available at 23,000 outlets in Indonesia, and it's across Indonesia to serve the actual cash needs. Because really sorry, like people are paying with Chris and everything, but at the end of the day, sometimes they still need the cash to pay like for their house rent or something like that. So that's the first and foremost. So when we're building that, we try to understand the Indonesian landscape. And then secondly, I did mention about the emotional factor, right? Trying to combine it with what Aladin as a Syariah bank, the value of a Syariah bank itself. So when we're doing, so for Indonesians, most of the times, if you notice, there's this a World Giving Index. So there's organization that it actually measure how the charity or the feeling of being how people would want to help others in every country. So there's this index, it's called World Giving Index. So Indonesia, back in 2021 until 2023, we're the first in terms of World Giving Index. So Indonesians in general like to help other people. So even though they don't have money to eat, but if there's a possibility they want to donate, then they will donate. And it's actually quite aligned with Syariah value itself. Because actually one of the Syariah value is the function of social function, which is part of it is zakat and sedekah. So when we're building that, we're actually embedding the thematic donation, thematic charity, thematic zakat within our platform. Because we believe that the social concept of donation still needs to be facilitated by the banks. So I want to help somebody in Nusa Tenggara. I cannot go there, right? If I want to give them 10,000 rupiah, then how do I do it? So in that sense, we're building it within our app. So we want to make sure that the experience of the emotional value that people like to donate, people like to give, the sense of happiness when we're helping together is actually embedded within our product offer. On top of many other basic banking services. So that's one of the things, Exito thinks the industry landscape and also the emotional value when we're building Aladin. So we're trying to combine that, hoping that having this thing actually give more sense of, oh, hey, actually a bank can also help my daily needs, can also help fulfill my emotional needs, rather than trying to get it from like multiple sources. So I hope that explains the question.
Of course, it means that Bank Aladin also like to adapt your technology to our demographic, or to even to our diverse cultural and demographic situation in each area in Indonesia. Wow, it's smart strategy.
Yeah, if I may add, I think the theme is very similar. Being a digital bank and then being innovative means that if we want to survive, we have to really strategically really getting into what are our customers' needs are. So, like for example, you are putting zakat, etc. That's touching on people's. I was taught that we have 3 CPUs in ourselves: the brain, the heart, and the gut. Right? So we touch on the heart, and then we bridge between people. For us, Jago, for example, on a similar theme, we have this, one of our main product is Shared Pocket. So it's more like a collaborative accounts that people can chip in together, and then there's experiential pockets like, then it becomes like Arisan Pocket and also Zakat Pocket. It's more strategically getting into our customers' daily lives rather than generic banking products.
Maybe that's because, however or whatever the technology that we have, by the end, we are talking about humans and people of Indonesia, right? That we need to touch their heart to run our business. Maybe the last question to Pak Ivan. As we have a lot of digital innovation, then what would be the benchmark or metrics that is most useful to measure the success or an impact of digital transformation, FinTech transformation?
Thank you for the question, Tito. So, I don't know other organizations who adopted, like for example, OKR. So there's a primary objective. We are not using OKR, but our sole measure should be the value that we deliver to our customers and stakeholders. We strive to ensure that our product give the utmost value to our customer. So with that, the derivative would be then customer metrics, like for example, customer acquisition rate, customer activation rate, the product itself, product adoption rate, and then frequency and value of transfers, for example. And then the operational excellence, system uptime, DORA metrics, of course, and the last and not least, of course, to our stakeholders, the business impact.
By the end, it's about the number of business.
That's what makes us, it's mutual, right? It's what makes our business sustainable.
It will come when we can successfully touch clients or
yeah. We cannot serve our customer if we don't exist, right? So we need to exist first.
So I hope this conversation also give insights or give some additional knowledge to all of us here, and I hope all of you have a great time to follow our conversation here. And so sorry because of the limited time. Thank you everyone for joining this conversation, and thank you very much to Bapak Ivan and Bu Firdila. I think we can end this chat and the conversation, Pak.